Okay, so now what we're going to do is take all this information from the cast rule, related acute angles, and everything, and try and find the exact value of each of these. Now, we know we could punch this into our calculator and get a decimal answer, but the decimal answer will not be as accurate as the exact answer, and we need precision when we're dealing with trigonometry. So we're looking for the exact answer. So when we do these, I like to follow a series of steps to make it nice and straightforward, and ones that we can follow all the time. So the first thing I recommend you do is draw a quick little picture. So for this is 150 degrees. 150 degrees is going to be in the second quadrant. Remember, if we're starting with an angle in standard position, we start from the positive x-axis and rotate counterclockwise 150 degrees until we get to our terminal arm. In this case, if we go 150 degrees in this direction, we'll end up in quadrant 2. So then I'm going to ask myself, in quadrant 2, is cosine positive or negative? Well, I can tell that from the cast rule. I probably won't write down the cast rule every single time, but I do need to look at it to know if cosine is going to be positive or negative in the second quadrant. So I look in the second quadrant and I see that it's the S, so that's sine. So that tells me that sine is positive, which means my answer is going to be negative. So right away I know my answer is negative. So instead of talking about cos 150, I'm going to look at a negative answer. And it's the negative of the related acute angle. So I need to know the related acute angle of 150. Well, from what we just did, the related acute angle is going to be right there. And in this case, it's 180 minus 150 is 30 degrees. And so my answer is going to be the same as cos of 30, except it will have a negative in front of it. Remember, the trig ratios of an angle and their related acute angle will always be the same number. It's just we need to be smarter than our calculator and figure out that it's in the second quadrant and know that the answer is negative. So step 1, figure out if your answer will be negative or positive from the cast rule. Step 2 is convert it to a related acute angle, because that will be much easier to solve. And lo and behold, the related acute angle is one of our special triangles. I'll just redraw my special triangle over here. There's 30, there's 60, and then I can go 1, 2, root 3. And so if I want the cos of 30, I know it is adjacent over hypotenuse, so it'll be root 3 over 2, except this one will have a negative in front of it. So the exact value of cos 150, well, I don't know a special triangle for 150, but I can convert it to a related acute angle of 30. I know those answers will be the same, except since it's 150, I know it's in the second quadrant, and the answer will be negative. So it's negative root 3 over 2. So let's try with sine 225. So again, oops, I'll do it in green. 225. Well, 225 is more than 180 degrees, so I'm going to rotate all the way around and end up over here. That's 225 degrees. So it turns out that I'm in the third quadrant. All right, so tell me what you know about cosine sine this time. We're talking about sine. Sine in the third quadrant, well, tan is positive, so this one is also going to be negative sine. So I know my answer is going to be negative, and it's also going to be the same as the related acute angle to 225. So I go and look, and here's the related acute angle. Remember, nearest x-axis. So 180 subtracted from 225 is 45 degrees. So this is 45 degrees. And so I know it is going to be the same as sine 45, except with a negative in front of it. So remember, just like above, the cast rule will tell me if the answer is going to be positive or negative, and the related acute angle will get me an answer that I can actually figure out. So now I go to my special triangle. Well, it's not the one that I have drawn already. So it's this guy, where this is 45, this is 45. We get that, and this is 1, 1, root 2. And so I look for sine. So it doesn't matter which 45 I use, the opposite over the hypotenuse is going to be 1 over root 2, except this has a negative in front of it. And I can check that. You can go to your calculator here and confirm that you're right. You can type in sine of 225, get some decimal, and you can type in 1 over root 2, put a negative in front of it, and you should get that same decimal. So this third one, I'm going to maybe give you a second to try on your own, if you'd like. If not, I'll just keep on going. So, even though this is cosecant, we do everything the exact same. We're still going to draw a picture. So I'm going to go down here. 150 is somewhere over here, because I know it's bigger than 90 and less than 180. So there's 150 degrees. And I'm still going to write the cast rule. But now I'm going to ask, where is cosecant? Is cosecant positive or negative in the second quadrant? Because that's where I'm at. So in this case, I don't have whether cosecant is that, but I know if the reciprocal is positive, then the cosecant must be positive. So which one is the reciprocal of cosecant? So we think for a second, we begrudgingly say, oh, it's sine. So I'm upset to remind myself that sine and cosecant are reciprocal functions. Sorry, I just got interrupted there. Hopefully I pick up on the right spot. So we're asking ourselves, 150 is in the second quadrant, so I have to figure out where cosecant is. Well, cosecant is the reciprocal of sine, and I think I did mention that. And so if sine is positive in this quadrant, then cosecant is also going to be positive. So I know in this particular example, this is going to be a positive cosecant answer. Now, it's redundant to write the positive down because I know I don't need it, but I do just to follow this step, just so I know I've actually gone through and investigated whether it is positive or negative, and I've concluded it's positive. So that's why I'm going to write the positive part down. So it's positive cosecant, and now the related acute angle. So the related acute angle is right here, and it's 30. So I know my answer is going to be 30. So there's a couple of ways you can do this. The related acute angle, sorry, is going to be 30. So now you can go off, and since you know that the reciprocal of cosecant is sine, you can go off and find the sine of 30 either off to the side and then go from there. So for example, I could do this and just sort of somewhere else go sine of 30 is opposite of hypotenuse is 1 over 2, and then reciprocate it and put your answer up here. Or you can write this, and this might be a bit of an overkill. Because cosecant is equal to the reciprocal of sine. So I could write it like that and go, okay, my answer is positive 1 over 1/2. Or I could just sort of do this part off to the side and say, well, 1 over 1/2 means I have to take the reciprocal, and go straight to here and take the reciprocal and say that the answer is positive 2 over 1 or just 2. I think we can probably look at this and say, well, I'm asked to find the cosecant of 30. Just ask myself in my head, what's the reciprocal? So the sine of 30 is 1/2, so I know that the cosecant of 30 must be 2 over 1, and go straight to that line. I'll accept either method, so both of them are fine. So what I'm going to invite you to do right now is try these three. You can pause the video and try these on your own. And then in a couple of seconds, the video will actually show you the answers, and then we'll move on to the next video. And so here are those answers. You can check your answers that you've just done, and hopefully you've done them correctly.